Welcome to Still Are the Tims, where I wrote for luck and they sent me you. I am joining Naz, Phelim, and Davey, but before we begin, we need to wish Phelim a happy 96th birthday.
Thank you, everybody.
He's just
Thank
really
you.
killing us for his exciting times that I thought it was Billy Idol talking at one point. It was actually. But yeah, so let's get into it, and we'll actually talk about football to begin with, which is, I believe, the reason for this podcast.
Yeah.
Davey, what were your impressions of the game yesterday at Rugby Park?
A lot more positive than what we've been watching lately, Paul. I mean, obviously know with the standards that we're striving towards, but there was a lot less going back the way. We were moving the ball forward and a wee bit quicker, so the new boys looked really good. 3 points, and no matter what's going on in your life, there's nothing better than the last minute winning for Celtic, is there?
Well, we did see the picture you posted on social media of Cian, which
Yes.
your son it was brilliant. That to me is, if people ever want to say what's the essence of Celtic and football, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Phelim, I mean,
Yeah.
you get these excuses straight away about that pitch, and it is absolutely dreadful.
Mm.
And I was actually saying to my wife before it that I wonder if the likes of Callum McGregor would say to the new guys, by the way, we're playing on a plastic pitch this weekend. And they would probably be like, aye, good one, you know. Not all hard, but yeah, dreadful pitch and dreadful conditions.
Yeah.
But your overall take in the game?
Sorry. Yeah, I thought, as Davey said, I mightn't have been as positive as Davey about the first half. I thought was, from where I was watching, was pretty pedestrian. Apart from Tunecti, who seemed to try to be doing stuff from the start, which was brilliant to see. You know, committing players, taking on players. I thought the first half was pretty piss poor, to be honest. But I thought we upped it in the second half a bit better. As you said, David, there was more tempo, definitely more tempo in the second half. Got the goal, but didn't really kick on. And I thought when they equalised, I didn't see a winning goal coming. But look, they dug in and they kept going, which is you know, that's full credit to them. But again, you'd expect that to keep going and not to let the heads drop. And I think overall we just about deserved the win.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you were going to roll back any on your defensive Liam Scales.
No, not really. He did have a couple of hardy passes, all right, no question about it, which Negro nearly scored an own goal on one of them, absolutely. Yeah. But no, I felt Liam did, again, he did his nuts and bolts of defending fairly well. He didn't lose his man for the equaliser. The ball sailed over his head. He got up, you know, it wasn't his fault for the goal. But no, I thought Liam did out. But what pissed me off, and I don't want to be going off on another rant of Liam Scales again, a couple of passes and someone is on him on social media, and whereas everybody else is giving the ball away at least twice and nothing. That's what pisses me off about it, you know. And I know Liam Scales, and it was a crucial pass that he nearly scored an own goal. But for fuck's sake, everyone is misplacing the ball. That's my point.
Do you have, like, on your devices, one of the Google alerts for Liam Scales? If anybody on the internet, you're on top of them. But Naz, I mean, I agree with Phelim. I hope the first half was, well, he said pedestrian. I think my actual expression was fucking dire. But what were your overall impressions of the game?
Well, obviously, you guys have already touched on the pitch and some of the problems there. I got a little bit of a different take to the team here. Obviously, looking at the last few games, I think there was a conscious effort not to do as many back passes. I think the team themselves knew the horseshoe of death was just going to ire up the fans. There seemed to be a lot more wanting to play forward. And coming on to Scales, in the first half, he actually did really well. In one instance where McGregor in that normal, just within that 5-yard area, asking to get the ball, and he actually played it out onto the wing. I thought, well done. That's exactly what you need to do. You need to be playing to his strengths. You know that when he has time to think, that's when the doubt creeps in. And the issue, where I'm going with this, is actually, I think McGregor is causing some problems within that team because he seems to want to be the conduit for all the passes going through him. Fine, point out where the passes are and where it's open, but a lot of the time he's making it difficult because the captain's asking for the ball and there's a better pass on. I actually think maybe after 60 minutes, maybe rotate him out, because he's obviously not got the capability to run the whole game. And you've seen at the end, he was in the mix for all the problems and obviously the situation where the goal came from, when the breakdown in play from the corner, and he was involved as part of that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, you hear it all the time. People, oh well, if you play against Celtic, you need to snuff out McGregor and all that. And that was never really an issue in the past because McGregor had the kind of will to get round that basically. But I think he has lost a half yard and it's telling. And I think even, it's coming to something when a guy I know who just for the whole last season berated Engels and now he's clamouring to get him in the team instead of McGregor. But I thought that, I thought Donovan was excellent. I think as football fans, you can see guys in their first game and just go, right, he's got a chance. And boy, has he got a chance because he's so determined, will to win. He's big, he's aggressive. He's only 18-year-old, but he's in the mix all the time.
Yeah.
I thought Sarachi came onto a game really well. First 15 minutes, I'm thinking, oh, fuck, he's started where he left off at Ibrox. But once he got to grips with the thing, he was making good runs, good passes, good option. And Seba, as Brendan Rodgers called him, the winger, I thought was fantastic. Reminded me a lot of Bruno Fernandes in his style of play. Because he's not predictable. And when he's not predictable, that makes it so difficult for fullbacks to, obviously anticipate what he's going to do. And I think I've got to say, Davey, there's been a lot of questions about Dyson Maida, given what we know happened in the transfer window. But I think in the first half, the way he charged down the ball against the goalkeeper kind of blew away any sort of fears we might have about him not trying, basically.
Aye, 100%, Paul. I thought that myself because he was like a steam train getting in there when that one with the keeper went after his nut at the defender. And that's where the frustrations came from because that's the Dyson that we're all used to and everything else. And it was maybe missing for the last few performances. And like you can't blame the man, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things. But once you see him up for it, and then you know that there's the change of attitude in team, then you think to yourself, this is what we need. This is what we need. Commitment, 100% commitment, film as usual.
Yeah, I mean, Phelan, I thought it was a great goal for Dyson Maida, and it was a brilliant cross as well. But I always felt that we needed that second goal.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it's 1-0 is never enough at any level of football. And we didn't really kick on after it, which was surprising. Maybe there's a bit of lack of confidence. Hard to know why, but we really didn't kick on. Like Kilmarnock deserved their goal at the time they got it. We had kind of gone into our shell a bit more, and you could see the goal coming. We were making a few mistakes, Liam Scales included. But no, we never built on the goal. But again, as I said in your first question, we didn't let it get to us. We didn't feel sorry for ourselves. Kept going and got the penalty. So that's very commendable, and it augurs well for the next number of weeks.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole aspect. I mean, obviously it was a bad goal to lose. I mean, this is becoming. I'm seeing this all over world football now. The long throw-ins and the set plays and all that being so crucial to teams' kind of strategy, if you like, and. It's no often you see a header like that going in against anybody these days. Poor, but as Phelan said, we did keep going. And again, it was Donovan's tenacity that won the penalty. And I thought it was fantastic. See the new man step up and Phelan, are you having a...
Yeah, no, it keeps logging me out. He keeps saying reconnecting, and the only way back in is to leave and come back in. But I hope that's all right now. Sorry,
Nas is going to kill you, like. Yeah, but aye. So anyway, Nas, get the penalty tenacity, and any doubts about the penalty?
Well, it's John Beaton, isn't it? So there was always going to be doubts whether we got it or not. I'll be honest with you. When I seen the replay and it was a deflection off a clearance, I actually thought, nah, he's not going to give that. He can't. then they called him to the monitor, and I thought, right, this will be one of the 9 times out of 10 to normally give it. We'll be the 1 time out of 10 that we don't give it. And then somebody turned around and pointed to the spot. I was just like, and immediately I'm thinking, are we going to score this now? But
That's the thing. I mean, Davy, I'll tell you. I mean, I never seen it in real time, obviously, but the telling part for me was James Forrest's reaction. Because James Forrest isn't an emotional guy or anything like that, and he leapt up in the air with the two
Yeah.
hands out, and you're thinking, oh, aye. And then when I seen the actual incident, the first thing later on, James McFadden said that's a penalty because it's a moving ball to the target and the guy's hands stretched out, kind of thing. But as you see, like Naz, with John Beaton there, you're thinking, no. But I think John Beaton was quite unequivocal when he seen it. He just looked at it once and went, right, that's a penalty.
That was a surprise, aye.
But the oft criticised striker stepped up, Davy. And I mean, what did you think of that whole thing in the first place about him stepping up?
Well, when you seen his post-match interview and he said he asked McGregor if he could actually take it, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but that maybe suggests that there wasn't too many round about him that were actually making a claim to take the penalty. And I'm glad that he did, because you're a striker, that's your bread and butter, isn't it? Put the ball in the net, and he started well for us now. Who do you think would have took that with the players that are on the park there? I mean, yourself, Paul.
I think it's the other choice, really do, because I think a lot of them are, itsy bitsy. But
he was on the spot, aye. But
Ian actually strikes me as sort of guy, right? He's no dafty. So he realised then, right, this is a real opportunity to turn the tide that's been against me. And after that, knowing his audience by blessing his it reminded me, I don't know if you remember, we had all that hoo-ha with Mark Viduka. And I think he played his first game against Airdrie, and everybody was like, he's a fucking, I want to give him it tight and that. And he comes on. But aye, it was absolutely brilliant, and it was great seeing the scenes and all that. And obviously, that was really the last kick of the ball. It was kind of hanging. But obviously, Phelan, we had the protest at the start of the game. I'll go to you guys before I give you my take. I mean, what did you make of that protest, 12th man, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you referred to it in your Substack, Paul. I know you'll give us your opinion in a minute, but I was very surprised how many people were in before kickoff, to be honest with you. And I think it's a bit of an eye opener and I think it's fair that we call them that many happy clappers were there. If you're unhappy with the board, and we've every reason to be unhappy with the board, if you're happy with that board and you're happy to go in before the game, knowing what the board has been doing, not only this summer, but for the last couple of years, and you're still happy with that nonsense, and you just say, well, fuck you, I want to see the match. There's a bigger picture here than going in, okay, support the team, 100%, but enough is enough, and nobody wants to be boycotting, but I would 100% supported that stance, and I was very disappointed how many Celtic fans went in before kickoff. Very disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, Naz, this is the thing. This is not just being about, getting knocked out of the Champions League and no spending money in the transfer market. This has been years of a build-up. Mm-hmm. So can you in any way put yourself in the mindset of people who chose to ignore the protest?
It's a difficult one because a lot of the things I was seeing online were people saying that they still want to back the team. And if the board was sitting there thinking there's a sizable chunk there that wanted it, there's a vast majority of that crowd that are for sacking the board change, but they don't want to not support the team. So I can understand to an extent, but to be honest with you, you've seen how many people were in that stand. The vast majority stayed out for the 12 minutes, and that's really telling. And the rest of them should obviously should have joined in, because it would have made it a lot more the visual impact of an empty stand and then 12 minutes filling up.
Yeah,
it would have really hammered home the point. But at the end of the day, we know there's going to be an element of people that are going to going to go and watch the team no matter what, even if they hate it. But as you say, this has been building for a long time, and there's a lot of happy clappers that are actually going the other way, which is important because we need to be united on this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Davey, I'll tell you one, I seen a social media post yesterday that actually boiled my blood, where somebody posted a picture of themselves at the game and said, I was there supporting the team from the first minute to the last minute. And I thought, nobody cares. It's not about you or anybody here, it's about a collective. And if people can't see the big picture, because this happened in 93, 94 as well, there were people who fought tooth and nail for the status quo because it protected their comfy seat and cosy relationships and all the rest of it. And you just kind of wonder, Davey, if after everything that's been happening over the years, can he prompt him into wanting change? What can?
Well, if the last few weeks and the constant disappointments against substandard teams in Europe and losing cup finals and chances of trebles in history doesn't date for them, then nothing will, Paul. And when you think about it, obviously everybody there, 99% of them are season ticket holders yesterday.
Well,
So
yeah.
it does show that there's still quite a division in our support.
I mean,
And
it was. I became conscious of the fact over the last 2 weeks that certain Celtic employees on social media just stopped posting, right? Because they're clearly aware of the situation, and let's just say these employees would be prone to, I don't know, flaunting their lifestyle a wee bit, flaunting their connections and all that kind of stuff, and they just stopped doing it. So even they had the awareness of what was going on. Yet here we are, people just standing. And I saw people on social media as well, Naz, basically saying before the game, "Oh, I'm be going in for the first minute" and all this kind of thing. And I'm thinking, why are you even posting that? That's just about look at me, attention and all that kind of thing. There's a big picture here. And the only strength that we have with this kind of thing is our unity.
No, absolutely. There's always going to be people that want to make it about them. There's always going to be people that, like, for whatever reason, want to turn the spotlight onto them. As you say, there should be unity. There's going to be disagreements. We're a collective. Not everyone's going to agree with every action that's going to be suggested. Obviously, you've seen that with the protests yesterday. But to make it about them and just create leaders havoc, because no doubt if you'd went into the comments in there, it would have been like civil war.
Aye. I know, and that's it. I mean, I done a blog thing last week where basically I said, look, it doesn't really matter who you like and who you didn't like or who gives you dick or that. The big picture is the goody Celtic. And we've seen that play out in the Celtic hierarchy with, the obvious kind of looking at what happened for them with the person briefing against Brendan Rodgers. We didn't need that disharmony among the Celtic support. Oh, is Phelan gone?
Oh, I went out again there, Paul. Sorry, this bloody thing keeps knocking me out every 2 minutes. Hopefully,
If you didn't get a Wi-Fi connection, you've got to be shot.
Yeah. No, it's a Wi-Fi. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what's going on.
Right. So anyway, I'm talking about the need for harmony among the support as we see people briefing against Brendan Rodgers for the Celtic hierarchy.
Well, nothing is going to change if the support is divided. It's as simple as that. And if the fans who didn't support that boycott yesterday just want more of this, well, I don't really know what to say about them. It has to be united. It has to be all in or nothing, and nothing is going to change. And the fact that the board was there yesterday, Paul, you had a feeling they mightn't turn up yesterday, but they clearly.
One of them didn't.
Huh?
One of them didn't.
One of them didn't. True enough. Yeah. But look at they clearly feel that they have fans on their side, and that seems to be apparent from the people who came in early.
But the thing about it is, Davey, just moving on to the kind of battle at Celtic, you could see the fury of Brendan Rodgers at his press conference on Friday in regards to people, a person briefing against him. And you have to, I mean, I've seen people say, oh, you have to wonder about the mindset of these people. If people didn't know the mindset of that person by now, then fuck me, I can't do anything for them, like, Ken. Because this has went on in his first spell where it was made to look like Brendan Rodgers was completely at fault for leaving and nobody else was responsible and all that kind of stuff because it was brief. And now it was like, I'm going to try and sort of fire the fatal shot against him. When in reality, Davey, Brendan Rodgers has not done anything wrong, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree with you, Paul. And to go back to your last question about what's going to change these people, I mean, for somebody to attack the figurehead of a football team, I mean, you can say about board members and everything else, we all know they're only interested in the finances. But Brendan Rodgers has been the public face of our club. He spoke brilliantly. He's probably said a lot less than he wanted to say. And you're talking about the sources that these people were going to. For fuck's sake, that should be the biggest red flag of these people's lives for who that source to come and put that story out there against our manager. I mean, he deserves an apology. He deserves an apology. And if the other board members don't stand up and take action against, we all know who it is,
Yeah.
then it just goes to show that, I mean, it's the first, it's not the first, and it certainly won't be the last public attack on him this season.
Well, this kind of segues into the meeting that took place last week. In particular, people calling out as they call them, the NEDs, the non-executive directors, Naz, whose basically job is to hold the PLC board and chief executive to task, and haven't they done that? And that might be, I don't know, like the two names that were mentioned in particular, Tom Allison and Brian Wilson. Both of whom have Clyde-Port connections, which is obviously the same as the chairman does. But this seems to be the thing that the Celtic board now just doesn't seem to function as a board.
Well, we know that. We've seen that in just about every single thing that they've done. If you look at this season in isolation, David just knocked it on the head there. He said that Brendan Rodgers has been the public face of this club. He should be speaking about the team and the team alone. Any other issues, the board should be up there. The CEO should be there. But he's using a highlighter pen apparently to highlight that should communicate more. He's not done any communication. They're not even put a name to that statement or that word salad of a statement that came out that looked like it was AI generated and it was just full of holes. But
I mean, you're right. I mean, to actually, the guy for the Irish Association brought that up. To actually say, I've got that on a to-do list, and matter of fact, I've highlighted it as well. It's like, how long have you been the chief executive? And it's actually, Davey, I'm starting to wonder. I will come to you, Phelan. You just seem to keep jumping off on, on the time now. I'm just starting to realise that, and a lot of people have said this, that Michael Nicholson is completely out his depth. He's a lawyer whose skills are not transferable to be a CEO, and he's been made to look like an absolute fool.
100%, Paul, and then it's evident in his actions or his lack of actions and what you've just said there. He's out his depth, he's no people skills, he's used to hiding behind his laws and rules and regulations and all his red tape and stuff like that. He's no idea how to approach the subjects at hand. He doesn't know how to deal with people. And the silence, again, we spoke about it in the previous pod. I mean, fucking anything would be better than nothing, wouldn't it? See if he came out in the defensive and or something, but there's nothing there for the man. He'll turn up, he'll hide behind the other people there, and he won't say a word. And you could throw anything. You actually get the impression you could fucking slander the man to death, and you still wouldn't get a peep at him.
Yeah, it's like yeah. The thing is, Phelan, a lot of people were saying, they're better scampering about, we're thinking about what they're going to do. And I'm like, actually, I didn't think they even have the first clue as to what they're going to do.
No, it seems to be making up as you go along, and hope it'll all blow over and go away. Normally, I wouldn't be too interested in press conferences, but I thought Brendan's press conference on Friday, Saturday, whenever it was completely compelling. I was very encouraged by how defiant, if you like, he was. That I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to be made the fall guy here, because, as you said, Paul, Brendan has done fuck all wrong, except try and make the best of what the tools he has. We know he's an elite manager, and he's being treated disgracefully this season, especially this summer. But I thought Brendan played a fucking blinder in that press conference. I really do.
I agree, and I think that there's a lot of people, like I said before, there's a lot of people trying to muddy the waters here, right? And I mean, I seen fucking David Lowe, he'd appear somewhere, and I thought, fuck, a complete chancer, talking about how difficult it would be to remove Dermot Desmond and all that kind of thing. But then he goes down the same line that they went down in '94 with buying up the shares and all that kind of thing. And nobody's suggesting that happens. What needs to happen is the kind of civil disobedience that happened on Sunday needs to keep getting highlighted to put the pressure on the first three, which is Lawwell, Mackay and Nicholson. Get rid of them and put pressure on Desmond, because Desmond needs to understand that he can't just swan about pretending that he owns Celtic. And he can't swan about pretending he's a majority shareholder, especially when you've got I'll tell you right now, you've got a manager there who's basically taken all this on board himself, with no support whatsoever for the club. If that guy walks out the door because of their fucking incompetence and belligerence, Desmond's going to see a war like he's never seen in his life.
Yeah.
No? Because it's the only thing that stopped this being all out, Naz, is the fact that they've got the season ticket money. But you watch when it comes to Europa League and merchandise sales and all that, they're going to get hit hard.
Oh, absolutely. It's already been online, where people are cancelling their home cup ticket schemes, already saying that they're not going to be taking up the Europa League packages. We know that there's going to be people that are going to take advantage of that to get to see Celtic that don't normally do. But even with that, there's going to be big gaps in there. There's no way they're going to be able to hide that. There's no way I doubt very much that they'll be selling out. But we should be. We should be selling out with demand. But as we know, this has been building and building and building, and this season has been the straw that's brought the camel's back. And there's a concerted effort within a hardcore, not just a hardcore within the support, but those others that were happy to kind of keep going along.
That is the thing that people just outside the club didn't understand, is that it's the treatment of the fans that this is about. It's treating the fans with utter contempt for years and years and years, and they've had enough. But I've also got a theory about the Europa League, because obviously the pricing came out this last week, Davey, and there's 140 quid for the 4 games for season ticket holders. And you'll always get the people who are like, oh, that's a great price. Aye, because what that means is, well, I can afford that.
Yeah.
Right? You give a fuck about anybody else. But what I think they're doing is they're saying, oh, it's only 35 quid a game, because they know that season ticket holders will not take up as many as they would normally, and therefore they will price the ones that Naz talked about much higher than that to recoup the revenue.
Yep, and that's a clever tactic to them. It's the way that they work into it. It's all about maximising the revenue, even in a negative fashion. Like you say, they know they're not going to get 40,000 season ticket sales through the 4 ticket package. And when you look at other clubs, and you'll have your happy clappers who will say, well, do you know what, we're X amount cheaper than them across the city, and they'll go and get them. But then you will have your, should we say, opportunists, or the people who might only be able to afford to go to the one game, who'll buy up the tickets at inflated prices. And it's just, it's I don't want to say clever marketing, but it's probably the one time that they did react to what's been going on this season. We're lowering the price to that.
Exactly, because it's just always the money with him.
Yeah.
Always the money. And that's the thing as well, Phelim, is the people we're talking about in terms of who might just buy a ticket for one Europa League game, pay top dollar and all that. they're only dipping their toe into Celtic, so they're not in the coalface experiencing how you get treated if you deal with Celtic on a daily, weekly, monthly basis kind of thing. So they're just going to be like, it would be like us deciding to go to hypothetically Arsenal.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have a clue about the inner goings on at Arsenal if the fans were happy or indifferent or anything like that. You'd just be like, all right, we can go down and that sort of thing. So there might be that, and there's nothing wrong with anybody if they want to do that. But the
No.
big picture is this will just keep going on if the fans didn't act now.
Yeah, exactly. Look, the Celtic fans, as the vast majority, well, certainly the majority, maybe not the vast majority, given what happened yesterday, I'd say a large majority now want a change and need change. So we have to play the long game here. We have to just dig in, and we have to get more people behind it. Build the numbers and stay with the eyes on the prize, and eventually force things to happen. We have to do more. There's a lot done, but a lot more to do, and just got to hang in there. Just hang in there and hope things change. And you would hope eventually the penny will drop with those who are taking the piss really out of the fans and treating them like shit on their shoe. And just, as the fans have to stick together, and it may be, I say, maybe have to play the long game here, but they just got to stay together, stick together, because that's what they want. The board wants is to divide and conquer, and that it'll all go away, and it'll all just, they'll try and ride it out. But the Celtic fans have to ride it out completely on the opposite side.
Okay, well, before we come to your questions, Naz, have you got a update on Palestine for us? What's been happening?
Yeah, I'll start with this past week. There, we had the president of Israel visiting the UK with the whole red carpet treatment, meeting at number 10. Absolutely disgusted but disgusted, but not surprised that he would be afforded state visit status, and absolutely no chance that ICC warrant that's out for him for his genocidal statements wasn't acted upon, and that he was kept well away from the press at large. But yeah, so Starmer obviously closing up there to him. The new deputy prime minister, who was the foreign minister, gave them all the support that they needed, and it's just business as usual. Just a couple of other things there. From the last time I was meant to be on, there's a film coming out, and it's actually premiered at Cannes, and it got like a standing ovation for like 23 minutes. It's let me find the name of it here. It's the voice of Hind Rajab. If anyone doesn't know the story of Hind, 5-year-old girl who was given an opportunity to escape from the bombing over a year ago. She left with her aunt, uncle, and cousins in a car, and it was basically shot up by the IDF. She survived initially. She called the emergency services to come and get her. There was an operator on there, tried to kind of keep her calm and say there's help on the way. A pair of paramedics, they liaised with the Israelis that they were coming to get this girl. As soon as they turned up, they were butchered, and eventually the car was shot up with over 300 bullets, and this girl died. But her story is important. She's one of many, and the people that are involved in this, the tourism director, but you've got some high-profile people like Brad Pitt, Joaquin Phoenix, and his partner Rooney Mara, as well as Jonathan Glazer, who did the Zone of Interest film that has lent their star status to this, and to help get this here. So if anyone gets a chance to see the story of Hind, I suggest you do so. It will be a tough watch, and it's a really emotional subject, but it's an important one because, as we know from what happened in World War II, like to Anne Frank and other people, these stories will live on as a reminder of the absolute brutality and genocide that's been visited upon the Palestinians.
Yeah, and I think that I saw a statement from Netanyahu last week where he said, "No, we're not stopping until we eradicate Hamas," and he knows what he's doing because he knows that every strike they make, every oppression they upheld, all that kind of stuff will create more people in resistance. and that's how he'll justify it. But I always say to anybody, well, what would you do if you were oppressed? You would resist, But we'll keep that boiling over. Okay, oh God, just to say, Phelim, honestly, he has got the worst Wi-Fi in Europe.
I'm gone again, yeah? I am.
He's here. Right, give us the questions, Phelim. And he's gone again.
I'll try and get the questions myself,
No, here we go, Phelim. You there? No?
No.
Nothing happening at all.
Oh, he's gone.
He's back. Right, Phelim, do we have the questions?
Oh, I hope I get through these. We have 4 questions and a statement. Pretty much a statement, not a question. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of, I'll get to it in a minute, Paul, but we'll leave it to last. Right, Francis Bradley has sent in 2 questions. First one for Francis. Were all those later changes necessary yesterday, and did it disrupt the team?
Well, all those what, sorry?
All the changes late on in the game. Did the later changes necessary? Were the later changes necessary, and did it disrupt the team?
I think it did, even though I know Roger said Seba was tiring, but I would never have taken him off. If you see Yang, he had a golden opportunity to drop the shoulder, and he did. He tried to get back. It's too predictable. So 100% for me, yes, Davey.
I totally agree with you. I mean, you mentioned it in my chat. He's just like a headless chicken, Mr. Yang, isn't he? It's like somebody's getting into the box and want to make something happen. And for the length of time that was left in the game, you should have kept that man on. I totally agree with you and hoped for something else out of him.
Next one, Phelim.
Sorry, Dave. Sorry, Paul.
Guess the next one.
Next one, okay. It's a question initially, and then it goes on at a fairly longish post. Will I read the whole thing?
Well, if you want.
Yeah, okay. It's from Mark Russell, and thanks, Mark. He first asked us, regardless of the personnel, we seem to be sticking with a 4-3-3 formation. Do you think we can set up and play differently? And then he goes on to say, this seems to me an easy setup to counter, particularly when the onus is on us to chase the win. Killy didn't need to do much to neutralise our threat without losing their shape, and we were slow in the transition from defence to attack. The lack of any real width and pace means it's going to be difficult, particularly in small grounds away from home. Our midfield was more of a danger to incoming aircraft at Prestwick. The Killy goal with their attempts on goal, I'm not doubting the effort, but I'm questioning the quality we looked to poor side. If that had been Kilmarnock versus Ross County, I wouldn't have bothered watching, and to be honest, that's how I felt watching it. I hope that in the long run, this is the beginning of the change in direction for our club. But watching people take the video from the director's box, not sure who, but I think it was a Killy person, on their phones and our supporters enter the ground, I think it's going to be a long, frustrating season. This squad is looking very light on quality, though I do think Donovan had a very good game. However, keep the faith. So to go back to the question, we seem to be sticking with a 4-3-3 formation. Do you think we can set up and play differently?
Nice.
Mark.
He's not been one for change, has he? So I don't think that we've got the squad to do it. And certainly not just now, not till we get a few more. In fact, I would take that back. Until he starts rotating in players like Engels and Bernardo and rotating out people like McGregor, then we're not going to be able to play any differently. And I don't think he wants to play any differently. He's got a very rigid formation that he sticks to. He just wants to. He'd rather move players than change the formation, and it makes us predictable. But at the end of the day, we just got to keep going.
Yeah, I think that Roger's philosophy is we'll have better players than everybody, so it doesn't matter how we play. And I think his formation is reliant on good wingers, which would hopefully come when Jota comes back in the team.
Yeah.
And obviously Saber, because Bali isn't really doing much for now. And I totally agree with Naz as well. He's got to rotate the midfield for loads of reasons. But, these managers, I mean, Ruben Amorim's getting absolutely hammered in England for exactly the same, just no change in it. But at least we're kind of still winning. They're getting gubbed every week,
Next one. Yeah, next one. Darren Gallagher. Thank you, Darren. It was mentioned in the minutes of the CSA board meeting that a signing had to be postponed to January due to injury. Maybe I'm missing something, but other than that note in the minutes, I don't remember seeing this discussed or reported anywhere. Any thoughts as to who this player is?
No.
Plain and simple.
It's funny. You remember when the old Huns were trying to sell Jelavic, and they claimed that they had a bid for him, and they were like, "Who? Well, it's unknown. What is?" the club, and then Lawwell came out and was like, "I we've had a 29 million for Gary Hooper." I mean, that to me is just kind of deflection. I mean, how if you've got to buy somebody with an injury, right? Then Adam Ida was injured. You know, he wasn't fully fit when he went to Swansea. I mean, how bad was the injury? I don't know. I mean, to me, to even suggest that, right, is like saying, you know, well, I was got to put up a garden fence at the start of the winter, but I thought I'll do it in the summer. You know, meanwhile, their whole house has been battered, you know, the whole summer. So it's just about preparation. And if I would suggest if you signed your players when you should sign them, maybe you wouldn't have been injured.
Correct. Okay, next one. Yeah, Francis Bradley again. This is a fair question, I think. Why do some fans, in inverted commas, write off players after a few games?
All right, Davey?
We're just too quick to judge these days, aren't we? And if they don't hit the ground running, I mean, it's a hard one, that, for Francis, because we're all guilty of it. You judge people right away, but I think a lot of people, you've got to give them time, and I can't speak for everybody else. And myself with Engels, for instance, I'm going to use him as an example. The price tag might have something to do with why you would judge somebody. If they're not producing the goods right away, and compare it to his price tag or the person that he's maybe meant to replace or whatever. So there's quite a few answers to that question, I think.
Well, I mean, for me, like, I've seen it for years. I remember Mark Reed was written off almost immediately, and then he started scoring penalties all the time. Chris Morris, when he came in the centenary year, he was a utility player for Sheffield Wednesday, which usually meant he was shit in every position. And he was absolutely phenomenal. And the list goes on. Andy Payton, like, what the fuck we saying this on, and scored goals and all that kind of thing. But even now, I think, as Davey says, fans just everything's on demand.
Yeah.
You know, nobody gets time to do anything. It's just a case of we have to keep fucking, you know, barracking this, barracking that, and all that kind of thing. And you know, as I say, that I sat in front of somebody at the Cairo Almaty game who was literally about to kill Alistair Johnson, and I'm thinking, really? You know, and he was acting like every game Alistair Johnson had played was absolute garbage. So, fortunately, it's become worse in the modern day. And I know I'm getting darker here, by the way.
Yeah, it's good, and I think we're all guilty of it, Francis. And I think Henrik Larsson, lads, that's probably the most famous one.
Who was that? Henrik Larsson? Who was he?
We won't forget that debut ever.
Is that the questions over?
One more. This is not a question, but a statement that might precipitate some comment. James Coyle. We need our board to stay. Alternative is Americans. Devil's advocate.
Is that our only two choices? Like,
yes, correct.
What we need is, see this thing about, for me, right? And I want you guys coming, obviously, is we just need people who can do the job.
Yeah.
And they're in it for the right reasons. It doesn't matter if they come from, you know, Timbuktu or wherever. It's like, you've seen many great examples of ownership that had nothing to do with clubs, and they've consequently built them up and all that kind of thing. Nobody's saying you need to have Saudi money and all that and sell all your roots and whatever. We just need people who have Celtic's interests at heart rather than their own.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's not much exactly, Paul. That's a good point. I think James is a little bit too, I don't know, simplistic there, really. We don't, sorry, James, I would disagree with you. We don't need this board to stay. We need them fucking out.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks for your statement, James. We encourage, it's all about debate, it's all about opinions. But I, with respect, thoroughly disagree with your statement, James.
Right, well, all right, then. We'll leave it there. We've done 45 minutes and Phelan's only done about 12.
It's my birthday, I'm allowed to do that.
No, what's happening is your wife's in the next room switching the Wi-Fi over. You know what I mean? But I want to personally thank Davey tonight because he has perfected his screensaver face. He's right there, the whole podcast.
Thank you.
Where Naz was talking, where I thought steam was going to start coming out of Davey's ears.
What you don't know is Mary Trees has tied me to this chair, so I've no had the option of moving whether I want to or no.
Is it your birthday as well?
Well, on that bombshell, we'll let you go, and we will see you next Sunday, which is always a better night than a Monday. We always have to navigate the Sundays because Phelan's a multi-millionaire who's still money for some reason. And even at that jokey point, Phelan, you'll have noticed that Davy's face remained exactly the same.
Oh, implacable. The implacable Davy Brown.
Okay. Well, catch you later, guys.
All right.
Cheers,
Catch you
boys.
later.
Good night.